Right, what's happening, Caprana team? I'm not going to keep you long. Let's get straight into it. So, apologies for the last couple of days. I've been recording a lot of content, but I've just not had time on the night to get it edited. No excuse, so I apologise. You know, consistency is key. So, I'm just down my local estate now, where I live. Don't know what's going on there. Questionable. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out and show you. So, they're building a full new block of houses on this estate, where I live, down there. They're building a full another 300 houses on the side. I've not been since I've just come to the house next door, so I've got issues with the walls. I've had a look, obviously, and they've reconnected it up now. So they've got the cold main, which is down there under the ground, so you can see that's this site's main, which is there. They've teed in here. They've put, obviously, a valve. Can't remember the name of them now. They've put a valve in. The type of fire valve that you put on a hydrant anyway, so they work on reverse flow. So I wonder if that'll be the same kind of valve. Well, it's just a gate valve, to be fair, but I wonder if it'll be the same kind of. But they've come along here, put an upstand with a fire hydrant attachment, then they've linked the hydrant there to liven the water up for the main on there. So I'm surmising they're going to do some kind of connection eventually on the end of that flange there and connect that to that, but for now just temporary measures. Obviously they've connected that up like that. Looks like they've got the fire hydrant pits and stuff to go. But I've just popped obviously next door. They've had an issue with a tap. Since I've messed about and done with the kitchen tap's kind of blown up. So real tricky one, because obviously they've said, oh well, since they've done this, they've got an issue with the tap and it won't turn off, so I've just isolated the tap for now. Real tricky one as well, because obviously the client's like, well, they've done it. I'm like, there's not really a lot you can do. Here's what it is, the work on the mains, it's part of the buy what it is. I don't think it's damaged the tap, but what I've said to the client now is to save them a cost. Now I don't want to know what you guys think on this, but I've been and looked at the job. I've been on the job 5 minutes. I've clocked in. I've also clocked out now that I've left the job. I need to go pick a tap up. So would you charge to go pick the tap up? I'll be honest with you, I would, because it's our time. We're on their time there, and we're going to pick them a tap up to think it's not down to me to pick a tap unless they want me to supply it. So I'd be charging. But what I've done in this instance is, because I've got another 3 jobs to go now, I've said to the client happily, look, on my travel to the jobs that are in that area, I'll literally clock off the job now, pick the tap up in the time and the way to some of the jobs. Then obviously they don't get accounted for, because travel time to a job you can't bill for, which is understandable. So I'll do that, and then when I come back later on, I'll clock back on the job. So potentially if I get that tap done in the hour, they'll just get the hour's charge. It's a call out charge today as well, because it's happened this morning. So we do charge a little bit more for a same day call out service, which again, if a lot of you people don't in your businesses, you should be doing. You know, if you're going to charge a flat rate for everything, then you're not a premium service. We have our hourly rate, then we have a weekend rate, we have a call out rate, then we also have a same day call out. It's nice to be able to offer this to your clients, because then it takes pressure off us in relation to we can come out today, but it'll be a little bit more money. Do you know, it's going to cost a little bit more. Then the client's like, oh, it's not actually urgent, and oh no, we need it, can you come out? Do you know, it cuts the urgency if they need it or it's not, because sometimes we found was going to jobs on the same day, they've got an agent, whatever, and it wasn't that agent. So we kind of put the onus in the client's hands, like I say. But I've got this to do. I've got to pop to one of our big new big conversions that we've done. We fitted a boiler a few months ago now. I've got to cut some pipes in for the builders ready to go. I've got a 3-pot valve to change, and I've got to look at a boiler job that I went out the other day. On Monday there was no heating. The system had lost pressure. It was just a system boiler, a heat only boiler. Heat only boiler, sorry. And they've converted it to sealed, so something's amiss somewhere. It had lost pressure. I've repressurised it, vented all lads, had it working, stayed with it for an hour. Bob's your uncle and all that. So I'm going to pop back there later on this afternoon. So I've got a bit of a busy one, just jobbing about. We'll keep you posted. Let's go along for the ride. Glorious day. Glorious day. Morning, Gaffer. Morning. What we saying? Just going to have to go. YouTube content will be copyrighted. So just popped to office now with Dale. So yeah, because I've got to cut a hole out from the back of the wall, right? Well, I'm doing it.
Is that going to fit?
Yeah, it's fine. He's panicking. So Dale's going to come up to a site sale with me as well today, a job that we've done. I'm going to hand over to Dale where we're at and what we're doing. Whoosh. So look knackered, what's up with you lads?
Playing football last night. I look at my best, I get that.
Hey, look, mate, the camera, to be fair, the HD quality, the 4K is making it look good. You've always got to look here. Look into the camera's lens. Look at them eyes. So I actually had an one set up. It's come up again, that. See, I've got lack of water in that one. I have to try to prime the pump and see what's going on, because that one's running at 2.5 out. That's coming up with a lack of water there. and I don't understand why, unless we've got a valve shut off, but we haven't. All valves are open. That's on, that's filling, that's running. I'll have a look. There's obviously saying there's a lack of water going into this pump here, so I need to suss out what's going on with that. Give them all a good clean. This one's not actually leaking. This is the one that's leaking. And it's quite frustrating. I've got to separate the full pump, so when you look underneath there, if you can see in there, a really little bit of manual water just dropping through the stem of the body, so I'm a bit totally cleaned up. So I thought there was going to be an issue with the transducer. So what the transducer is here, obviously that reads the pressure and everything else on this, but I don't think there is. This pump's fired up now, it's a lack of water. There has been issues on this site where the water's been cut off for a certain amount of time, so I think that could have been an issue. I'm going to give this one doesn't necessarily need service. This one needs a full strip down service, this pump here. I'm going to give them all a good clean up. Expansions, recharge them, check them, recharge them, make sure it's good, check everything's working inside. I'm just doing manual checks now, pump off, pump on. So with that pump turned off, this pump is now running, and vice versa. This is the newer head, you can see. I've had a new head put on this, but there's nothing wrong with this. This inverter doesn't need changing. But what I can do with this is just literally, I need to disconnect the inverter off the head, the full motor shaft body, spin it round, and I can work on it here. Then we'll show obviously the breakdown of how we get into this and what goes on when we're inside of it, so you can have a more of an understanding. But the one I'm looking for on here is if there's a leak on this section in there, but I don't believe it's leaking inside there. I think it's all right again. So it's just going to be pump number 2, major service, and that one should be able to live. So pump number 2 running fine. I'm going to get pump number 1, pump number 2 isolated. So that's the next, check that they're working, which it should be. Then what I can do, start to look at doing now, is disconnecting this. I'm maybe going to look at taking, I don't think I have to be fair. I'm going to disconnect the pump on this unit here and that unit in there, then pull the pump out of that section. Because once I've got that out there, I can just leave all the inverter and everything connected to the main motor shaft of the unit. It's electrical isolated, so that's safe. Leave that disconnected, then I can look to disconnect this full flange section and pull that apart and then clean it all out. To get that disc out there, it's been leaking. Oh, got grease. It needs a good clean. This good strip down, and obviously you can see there it's been done before. So I'm gonna whip the full thing out, take this full body apart, and do them there, then pull it all apart nice and slowly. I'm not going to bother whipping. I could whip the motor head off, but I don't really see the point, to be fair. I can't really get into that, so I'll get my own key set, get that whipped out of there. So I have to be careful because there's a spring inside these. Remember last time I pulled this apart, there's a spring that comes out. It's making sure it goes back as well. Exactly the right order. See inside that is a good clean, look at that. So I'll clean that up as best as I can. There's some flow in, flow out. And it's just leaking on that body there. So now, that's highly annoying that. I need to get that off there, stop the propeller spinning, then I can dismount that full thing, but the problem I've got is I can't get that undone from there. Shaft out, coming out, just like that. Let's change the game total that. Wait, man, I can't get that one there now. What a bollock. What a rubbish design they are. They're just not going to come out at all. It's working on that one. What could do? It's just leaking into the oil town, isn't it? Right, I'm spinning around here. So the problem I've got is obviously with this one is that pump's fine, that's not leaking, but this is leaking from the body. I've tried to have a go at getting it apart, taking that motor off and stuff, because I started off taking the parts apart inside, but I need to get this full motor housing off so I can get inside to there and put new servicing kit, but it won't go on. So I'm going to maybe look at changing the pump. Just need to clarify with obviously on-site electrician. I can't see it being a problem. The inverter which is here will just basically connect back to this new pump. We're just going to change the body only, and it should just literally connect back to straight back to there, so it can just literally go straight back onto there. We can reuse this top section here, which is our check valve, built, there's nothing wrong with that. Then choose the fitting that goes into the base plate of the pump, which is there, and that'll just go straight onto there. It's frustrating things like this, because I do like to tend to repair, but sometimes it's just not feasible. Beauty queen. So I'm just going to get this pump rebuilt back together, so it's at least usable from where it's coming from. There's two pumps on this, so it's got a backup supply. So I'm going to leave it run on the other pump, which is fan. This is there just for backup, so I can turn it back on. But I think just to stop the leak now, to save the other stable getting flooded, I'm going to make sure that yeah, I've just obviously had confirmation electrician as well. Hopefully we should be able to get away with ordering a new pump for this, so we can just change the full pump body. I mean, you've seen inside that pump, it's brown, murky, it's not the best. I think this is just going to answer it. And this has been in for years. We'll just change the pump over, it's going to be easier. Trying to clean that up fast with it and stuff, and they aren't coming apart. I can't say it's a lack of maintenance, it's more not coming into there. Not like a maintenance necessarily, it's just obviously hard water area, galvanised pipe and stuff as well in the building. We repiped most of this building in Al Caffeine, because I was getting a lot of issues with the elk in the building. Not the elk, galvanised, going brown and murky. Again, it's just not drinking water for humans, it's just obviously irrigation and stuff like that. But I think I'll just bang this back together now, give that a clean up and leave this one isolated, leave it run on that, see if the leak stops, like I say, which it will, because it is this pump that is definite fault, and we'll just get a straight swap for this pump. So literally all I've done there is just I'll leave it taped off. I spoke to on-site people, that's turned off, new pump's ordered, well, ready to go in the basket. Once I've confirmed that head will go, because we don't want to be ordering an inverter, I don't think it needs it. That's put back, that's isolated, pump the one's running. If need be, I've spoke to everybody, this can be turned back on and running, so it's just a case to turn that on, turn the valves on, just to make sure this area dries up and just stop leaking, because that's what it is, I believe it is. And once we do that again, these will have a good clean down again. I've given them a good look over today, check the expansions, everything's fine. Transducer's working fine, everything's running as it should be. Just needs a good clean up, but the area that it's in, like I say, there's not a lot you can do, it's just is what it is. Yeah, so like I say, tool bags in the van now. That was a ball ache, I'll be honest, I didn't get much footage because I was just chatting to the client as I was doing it. That's been leaking for God knows how long. You can see there on both of them, just that rust. It took me about 30 minutes to get that out, 5 minutes to get the new tap fitted, so that's done. Next one I'm going to go to now again, I'm just finishing up now because I'm literally down my street. Look at them tools, mate. Last job is 5 o'clock. I've got most of the video edited now, so you'll be watching this like, wow, what a guy, how does he manage to do this? I don't know myself, guys, I don't know myself, but next one I'm going to is the system keeps losing pressure. I say that I went on Monday, repressurised the full system, it was full of air, like someone drained it, it's on a new build. Pardon, sorry, so I don't know what's going on, it's lost pressure again, all I've had to empty, so I've filled it back up to a bar now. Boiler fault code's coming to the FD, off the FD is, it's got a thermistor, so it's dry firing, so it's going to lockout basically straight away. So I need to get back there now and see what's going on in relation to the system, where the water's going and what's going on, because something's really amiss. I'm going to head down there now, go for the short drive and we'll get out of here. Tell you what, nice and quiet down here, lovely water down there. So you can see how close we are. Just driving down obviously on the estate road now, nice and carefully, to the next job. Right, so I'm done. Last job done. We'll put this on tomorrow's over and out.